Welcome. We're going to talk all things ADA today, Americans with Disabilities Act. And the reason we're talking on this topic is there's a small chance, maybe to a medium chance, that you got an email from somebody at some point accusing your site of not being compliant. And what does that mean, right? So we're going to dive in, and kind of David's going to really offer some insight into what the heck it is, why you got to consider it, and why it's not something to be totally fearful of, which is the real key, that there are solutions, and those emails you'll get will definitely instill fear. And that's really to get something out of you. And that's not the case here. This is really just making sure that all people can access your website. And there's really easy ways to do that, right? You don't need a whole website redesign, and we'll dive in on that. So first, right out of the gate, what is ADA compliance for a website, and what does that even mean for a small business, David?
It's a loaded question because there is no ADA compliance officially. However, there are standards that have been put out there that have been picked up. However, they're not necessarily even really enforced, but there's what's really followed. And obviously we're not lawyers, so we're not experts necessarily, and things can change. But at this point, what they've just asked is that your website allows for users to be able to access things, be able to click on stuff, be able to find stuff, be able to do things, and that it's able to be consumed by anybody, whether they have hearing, seeing, other sort of other disabilities, right? That might make visiting your site difficult. And a lot of things that you like in the email, it might be saying, oh, I don't think your website's compliant, or it might even be a story about somebody's getting sued and somebody's getting sued and somebody's getting sued. Everything that seems to be is very like there's a lot of fluff to these stories. It's just a lot of fear mongering or whatever. But the one thing that is true is that there have been companies that have been fined or found to not do it. But what they've done is that they've put stuff behind something, right? So like Winn-Dixie had it where you can only get specials online, and those were based on the a Flash website that you had to have access to. And of course, Flash is not friendly for anybody. It's not even used anymore. So it's things like that. What's that?
They took it away.
They took it away because of that. So it's things like that that have made it didn't allow somebody to get a special. So because of that, they sued Winn-Dixie. And for, that's not about. They did not offer reasonable accommodation. They did message Winn-Dixie and asked, can I get the sale? And they said, no, you have to sign up online. I can't sign up online. Well, then you don't get the sale. So it's too bad, but it's what came to be, right? It was maybe some bad customer service. Right. It was bad customer service that was really the thing that pushed it further. So
in the end, like, again, there's been examples of this being a problem, but that doesn't mean it is a problem. And so is it required? Is this a requirement?
No. And the same, like, most small businesses are not enforced in for ADA compliance because of the size of their business. So most small businesses don't even meet the necessary criteria to even have to have. I'll be honest, like, we have a small little office building. There's 2 businesses that use it, right? I don't think we have a
ramp,
handicap spot or anything like that. It's not required because we don't have that. We don't reach that type of business that requires it. So nobody's going to come and sue us there, right? We've been visited by the county multiple times to install things and to do this and to do that. And there's no issues with that because it's not necessarily about, you're either, yes or no. It's a very like gray area, but there is no like right or wrong. There is no compliant or not compliant. It
makes perfect sense. But what can a small business do? Again, they're going to get some of those emails. They're going to get bothered by that. What can they do to be even potentially proactive about this?
Well, I mean, most of the things that small businesses might be doing to help their website rank or to help people experience their website can help, right? Will be a benefit to possibly how somebody would take in their website. So a lot of times screen readers and things like that. I'm not saying you need to necessarily turn your site onto a screen reader and see how it looks necessarily, but when you're optimizing for search engines, when you're optimizing for Google, when it is ready to crawl your website, that's the same thing a screen reader does. It views it the same way. It has, you could almost say it's going to take it in the same way. Can it understand what an image is? Does it have alt text? If you, even good user experience would be the same thing, right? So if you're using a form on a website, how many times you hit tab and all of a sudden it moves you to a field that was not in the order that you were hoping it to go in? I was checking out on what I thought was a reasonably large website, and it didn't work. So I had to, click. But again, that would be a good, more user experience. But the tab would be important for somebody maybe that can't use a mouse, right? That has to maybe tab throughout your website, which would be a part of a disability. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with how they'll figure it out. They'll probably be able to experience your website, but could you have made it better experience for anybody? For me, who's not, doesn't have a disability, but it was a bad moment for me where I had well, where did I go? Why did it go up there? So it's little things like that, the experience for Googlebot people, it's equal in terms of how they experience your website.
So setting your site up for success organically is what you're saying. So some good SEO practices are going to basically be a double hit and really help you for that ADA visibility is what you're saying.
Well, it's going to help in terms of the experience that people are going to have. The other thing that we would say is that there's a plethora of things that you can't necessarily, you're not going to build your site probably for ADA only compliance. A couple places I've seen buttons up top, some government websites have done it as well, where you'll do ADA version. So depending on the type of business, but we work. So our clients could be in the wedding industry, or working with a painting company, right? That paints houses, right? Very visual. You're going to want to show pictures of the painted houses. You're probably not going to want to do a stripped down version of their website. There's probably, you want photos, you want things, you want a look, you want certain things. You don't want it to probably just be black and white. So for that, you can add, technology's given us this abilities to add like these, I would deem as a plugin or an add-on to your website, that what it does is adds a little button in the corner. If you start paying attention when you start going to websites, you'll probably notice more and more of these. And you click on it, and what it really does is it takes over your site. You put it on there as a user, as a website owner, I'm sorry. The user then can click on it and be able to manipulate how certain things appear in your website to help it be more compliant on how they would want to experience your site. We put this on our client sites, and we've had clients that mentioned that they get ADA, gotten somebody that said, thank you for adding that. That was helpful for my experience.
Could you give maybe even an example of so what are they choosing? Is it changing the color or the size of stuff? So
it might be the font size, maybe we chose 12 point, but maybe maybe they don't have good eyesight for whatever reason. So, but maybe 15 or 20 point allows them to do it. That wouldn't be a great experience for everybody to have, right? But would be needed for them. So it allows them to change it. Maybe they don't want any colors. Maybe they have they can't see red, right? So obviously if we have red font links, they can eliminate that and have certain colors only show up. Maybe it's black and white, right, to help out. And maybe they need that big contrast, right? Maybe they want black on white while somebody can't read white on black, right? There's many, many things. So that just helps in how somebody's can take in your site, and kind of allows you to have almost like the two different versions without necessarily having to
build another. Yeah, you don't. That's the key, right? You do not have to build another site. You don't need to rebuild your site. The inquiries you might get, or that lawyer that's really just being opportunistic, is trying to make you think you have to build something different or you're going to get fined. That's not the case. There are literally free plugins. There's a few that cost money as well, but there's a free option that can be loaded on your site that, just like David was saying, will help a sight impaired person or a hearing impaired person to actually navigate the website in a comfortable manner for them. That's really, if we're boiling this down, would you agree with that, David, that the idea here between ADA compliance was really a buzzword since there is no legal compliance to it, like you're saying, but the boiled down version is making sure everyone has an experience that suits them on the website. So if they can't, again, read low contrast, they can click that icon and bring it up for their experience on the site.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. It's 100% just about what are we doing to, improve the person's experience, right? Are we giving them an opportunity? And then if you can only do so much and maybe like, let's say you're a real estate agent and you have MLS listings, you maybe don't control, right? That you have to get them from a third party that's maybe not ADA compliant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, right, that's something that's outside of your control. But now somebody called up and said, hey, can you help me out finding a listing, right? You hang up and go, you can only go to my website. Have a good day. How at that point, now, if they would probably be nice enough to say, I have, an ADA need and I can't use your website. What can you do? Are you offering some sort of opportunity to help them, experience something on your website or to work with your company, right? Or that's all the reasonable accommodations have been. And a lot of the fear mongering has been, somebody's going to try to do something on your website. It's not going to work and they're going to sue you. What it has been, it's always been that nobody's been given the chance or that, can you sign up for a service? Is it only online or would you take it by phone or could you do it by email or through other means?
That's the common thread for us, right? We even started these webinars because we were really miffed that fear mongering is a big part of our industry. And while we are in the digital marketing industry, that's what we chose to do. We build websites, we do ad campaigns, we do all that stuff. There's just a lot of fear mongering, and ADA became another one where people are trying to use something that really should just be about helping everyone be able to access something, and they're able to use that for some financial gain. So what we wanted to do here, and that was it, is really encourage you to understand that there is a free option to add to your site to make it ADA compliant. It is not a legal proceeding. So if someone's trying to hit you up on that, you are not Winn-Dixie. You do not have the same issues that Winn-Dixie has as a small business. But again, like David said, we've actually had clients get leads and again, business because they were ADA compliant. I believe one off the top of my head was somebody got a blind individual was able to book them because they were able to use that integration because, again, they had their browser set up properly for that and were able to use the site and engage that way.
Right. It's a couple things working all together, right? Obviously having a good site as well set up, right? That you don't have like a lot of images with text all over them, right? That, the headings are properly formatted. I'll toot my own horn to say, there is a web standard, right? That web standard falls very much in line with a lot of the ADA web compliance standards that's out there. They're so similar. So it's like, cool, if I'm web friendly, right, which is helpful for ranking, it's gonna also just help how people can take things in, how people can experience, and that allows now the person to use their screen reader, to use the third party tools that are available that can help. And again, the site functions for two different people, two very different ways, but solves the same purpose in the end. And there's even some paid add-ons too that offer a little bit more. And again, for a client, what's that worth to them to sell? Probably one thing is going to probably sell whatever the yearly rate is for those anyway. So
exactly. And if you could think about it as how much do you want people to be able to interact with your website, people that have disabilities, that's the distinction. Again, there's free options. One option we know of is a couple $100 a year. And again, it's just offering individuals with disabilities an opportunity to engage in your site where, again, in some cases, they may not be able to otherwise, but not something you have to be scared about, not something you have to be worried about getting sued about. And that's really how we wanted to end the year and let you know that, again, if you get some of these emails, if you get some of this stuff, do not worry. They're definitely coming from a place with misinformation, and there are things you can do. So if you have any questions about ADA or literally anything, you can email us, hit us up. info@iwantclarity.com gets to both of us. That's the easiest one. You can head up to our website. But all in all, we just want you guys to have a happy new year. If you watch this after the new year, I hope your new year was good. And we'll be back in action with more webinars at the end of January.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Have a great new year, guys. We'll see you soon.